back to the channel. So we're down the coast again today between Longniddry and Aberlady to have a look at the World War II coastal defences that are still viewable today. Now you can't visit anywhere on the east coast of Scotland or the north of England without seeing these blocks. There must have been thousands of them made in the summer of 1940. So it's quite an amazing story about how quickly they were built. Obviously Britain was at the mercy of the Nazi jackboot, which had marched across Europe, and everybody believed it was only a matter of time before we would be invaded. So there's been some brilliant books written on these, and these two books by Jack Tully Jackson, a friend of my late dad, and Ian Brown, and If Hitler Comes by Gordon Bartley are a source of information, maps, details of everything that went on, from the coastal defences, the searchlights, the airfields, the home guard. Fascinating is, and yeah, still a lot of interest in these. So we're going to go up to Port Seaton, spin round and start down along the coast road, and I'll point out these blocks. If you're here locally, you'll know about these. Can't miss them. A lot of them have disappeared into sand dunes, encroaching sand, and a lot of them were lifted, especially at Aberlady Bay, for seaside defences when they built Kegezi Power Station in the 60s. So it was considered, the beaches of East Lothian, to be very suitable for amphibious landings, and it was thought they might be launched from Denmark or Norway. And certainly German troops landing in East Lothian would be able to drive quickly into Edinburgh, and with the capital occupied, set up a military administration and progress from there. The idea of these defences would be to slow the enemy, to organise defence regiments. So these blocks were all built to uniform design and cast in wood or metal squares, which were on top of bases that were pre-built, and were built by local contractors, the army. There's a lot of Polish and French that had escaped prior to Dunkirk, and there was a lot of camps built with Poles as well, who stayed and built a lot of these right through to 1942, and then they would take part with their own regiments in the 1944 invasion, Normandy. So through the trees here you'll see glimpses of them. Too wide they are, and they go non-stop for 2 miles down here, all the way to Ferniness. The ones at Ferniness have been lifted in the car park where the food vendor is now, and you can see them there. I don't think they're going to go anywhere in a hurry. They're 80 years old now, and some of them look like they're new. So we'll just go around the coast here and we'll pull in at Ferniness, get some pictures there. So this coastal crust, as it was referred to, and did run all the way from Caithness all the way to Northumberland and beyond. Any beach that looked suitable for amphibious landing or glider landing was built with defences similar to these. A lot of the tidal beaches obviously would be suitable for glider landing, so the glider poles were set in concrete. Roughly every square acre was a glider pole. You can see here the blocks going all the way around Gosford Bay. In the distance you can see the roof of Gosford House, and below it on the coast the tank blocks disappear into the grass there. They reappear at the corner at the mile, and they go all the way through Green Craig Woods. So we'll head down there and have a look at them. Over the wall here inland in the estate Gosford is the remains of POW Camp 16, which was opened in 1944, and by 1945 and 46 there was 4,000 German POWs, hence why there's a lot of German surnames, descendants of them. But that's for another film, another time, we'll get that done. So here's the blocks we're just looking at, and you can see they peter out where there's a high wall here, and then they continue on right round this bay. The impressive gatehouses into Gosford Estate. So I'm guessing, looking at the old maps, that these woods were actually part of the grazing fields, and all this woodland's grown up since World War II. But the blocks are still here, they're not going anywhere. So they run all the way up where the arrow is, to Craiglawr Point, which is also known as Green Craig. The White House used to be a hotel, and they then go into Kilspindy Golf Course. They stop where all the rock cliffs start, and obviously there's a natural defence, and then from here we'll zoom down the mile into Aberlady, and it gets a bit more interesting now to see where they used to go. After a horrid, wet, cold week commuting in the dark and racing the sunset home, it's nice to get out today. Some decent weather. It's cold but wrapped up, and it's dry, more importantly. So this is Aberlady. I've been through here before. This is my home village when I grew up, and come down out of the village to Sea Green, and they've lifted the tank blocks from there right out onto the nature reserve, and they all went to the builder of the Cakenbury power station. But I've got some good old pictures to show you down here. So you'll see here the map indicating all the blocks, and you can see the starting block here, a big sloping block. I've not seen one of these elsewhere, but I've got this amazing picture. Look at that, of the blocks coming out of Aberlady, and we've got a photo of them getting laid, and that's an armed soldier, so that must be a POW. And there's a clue to if POWs were out here further on, something that we found. So the blocks came along here, and then they went straight across the bay on what was a tidal causeway road. I've done a blog on that old road, it's shown on old maps. Look at that, there you go. A lot of concrete. So once they moved them across the reserve, they left one every quarter mile or so. So you can follow the line of them now. interestingly, there's a second inner line of blocks ran up the side of the Lough Ness golf course from this end of this wall, and there it is shown on the map. And we have an aerial photograph of Gala Law. You can see the blocks there. Gala Law is obviously locally known as Quarry Corner. Gala, as in Gala Law, also means gallows law. So I don't know if there was somebody hung here at one time. Certainly a lot of hanging going on. So here is the end of that line of blocks where there's been a gap to get vehicles through. So they had big metal bars that would slot into these, be lifted off, and here's a photo of one of these roadblocks in use. So we're going to leave Quarry Corner here. That's the bike riding done for the day for this film, and I'm going to take you out to show you photos. So here's the blocks every quarter mile where they left them, and you get out to the nature reserve point, Aberlady Point, and look at this. It's quite an impressive setup here of blocks, and they've got actually like a choke point, you could call it, where obviously they had it set up for a catchment bit where you can get through. You can see the blocks here really after a dune fire. So what would happen is obviously they'd leave a gap with no mines on the coast, let troops get in land, and then they'd get them squeezed into a corner and they'd open up on them. Now, these blocks have writing on them. There you go. Wed in Esday, which is a funny spelling. 21st of August, 1940. So they're numbered as well. Now, really weird is one of them has a swastika on it. It's reversed. Now, was it a POW or just someone having a bit carry on? But one thing I can confirm, along with that photograph of POW, that there was POWs out here, because my dad found this spoon out here. And it's made, it is silver, and it's made by Gromargan. And look at that. Yep, German markings. So, who knows? Mystery. No one knows. Another thing out here I found was actually tripped over this. No one else seemed to know about this. It's a spigot mortar mount out here. I found one at Ferny Ness as well. And so these blocks split in half, and half go out to the dead end of the point. And there is a machine gun pillbox nearly disappeared in the dunes. It's a big Type 22, I believe it is. And it should look like this one, which is at RAF Trem inland. That's the size of it, but it's obviously disappearing into the dunes. So our line of blocks head up onto Gullen Golf Course, and there is a shelter, which my initials are carved on inside, along with all the other greenkeepers I've worked there. And you can see them go round, and they go right down this fairway on the north side of it. And obviously being removed or buried, and there they are there reappearing on the top of Gullen Cliffs. So we're going to end our ride there, and you can see what happened to Gullen Beach here. All the holiday huts were lifted, and it wasn't mined inland, and it was actually used for D-Day landing practice. So if you're interested in all this, really want to try and get a hold of these books, you probably can do eBay searches. They're not for sale now. This book though, by Gordon Barclay, is fascinating. You lose hours reading that. So I hope you've enjoyed all this, and I do have cycling blogs and films with a lot more of this stuff, and the next section that's really good is down at Tinningham, but it's better actually cycling or walking it. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you're interested in seeing more of this sort of stuff, and I'll see what I can do. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.